What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Inside Out Football. I'm your host, David. I'm so glad that you guys are back. We're back with another video. You've seen it by the title. You've seen it by the thumbnail. We have a really great guest here on the show, Seattle Sounders legend, Steve Zakuani.
Thanks for having me, man. No, it's a pleasure. I'm glad to be here, man.
Thanks. It's a pleasure. Was it cool to have you here? I was really excited when you agreed to come. Yeah. I was not sure if you were going to come.
No, you're persistent. I said I want to come. Yeah. I like that. So I'm coming. Yeah.
I wasn't even sure you were going to recognize me from the call.
Yeah, I remember.
We last met a year ago
in
Redmond for a tournament. You were coaching your team. I was playing with my team, and we met there, and I introduced myself to you. And we just exchanged contact, but we never talked until this point. Yeah. How you been, coach?
I've been good, busy. I'm still coaching. We're in the middle of the season right now, so I'm a bit busy between that and the stuff I do with the Sounders. I try and stay a bit busy, try and travel a bit in between, but I'm good.
Yeah. Before we get into to coaching, because I really like to hear a lot, and also from your experience that you've gotten and how much you just work with all of it. But I want to start by asking, from day one, where did Coach Zakuani start? Where did you first start playing?
I started playing in London. So I'm from the Congo. I left there when I was 4, and I got to London. And probably at age 5, I started playing on a school playground because we come from Congo. We speak French.
Yeah.
So I didn't have any friends in school because I couldn't speak English. So it was me, my older brother, older sister. We'd all hang out together in the playground. One day they were short a player for recess to play football, and they rolled me the ball, and I was good. So then that day, it was just like every day after that, where it was break time or lunchtime, they would pick me on their team because whichever team I was on was winning. So from age 5, that's how it was. And then I had an uncle called George he had a son around my age. I have an older brother, 2 years older. He took the 3 of us to a team. We call it Sunday League football. It's just like local youth soccer. In England, I started playing there for a team called Barking Colts, then a team called Redbridge United. And at age 9, I was scouted by Arsenal, which everyone obviously knows Arsenal. And then I spent 5 years in the Arsenal Academy. So I started age 5 and I got very serious by age 9.
What was your first initial thought when you got into the game at age 5? Was it like, wow, like this is my thing? Or at some point you try to steer away from it?
You just make friends. It was like, that's how I made friends, because in England, anyone who's been to London knows that's all everyone does. Every park, every street corner. We'd come home from school, take off like our hoodies, bags, make goals and just play. Like that's all we did. So first was to make friends. When I got to Arsenal and now we're playing against like Chelsea, Man U, Liverpool, Tottenham, like real games. I'm like, okay, this is serious. Then we're traveling. We're playing Barcelona, Ajax, Lazio. I said, okay, this is really serious. So from age 9, 10, I was like, I want to make a living out of this. But before that, it was just to make friends. But then once I got into that system, the academy soccer system, it became clear to me that this was what I wanted to do. I'm good at this. I want to try and do this. And it was just something I've always done. 30 years I've been involved in the game.
Wow. I want to first ask, what was it like to just now move to England? Like apart from football and far from school and friends, what was just the experience from being this kid that was in Kinshasa, Congo to now England?
It's different because one, the weather. I've come from Congo where I don't even know if I saw rain. I'm sure there was, but I don't remember. You know what I mean? Like I don't remember if I saw rain. But we've come to England now and it's cold and it's raining. We don't speak the language. And all of that, And I grew up in London, but I grew up very much in a Congolese house. Like I still spoke French with my parents. The music was Congolese, the food was Congolese. Like the church we went to was Congolese. I understand. I understand. Moke. I understand. So like that, right? But it's something where it's a big adjustment, but because you're age 4, age 5, you're not really thinking too much. You just you're very adaptable as a kid. And I had, like I said, an older sister, older brother. We were all close in age and we all kind of helped each other through it. By the time I was like 9, 10, 11, I was very much like comfortable with British culture as well. Like I was comfortable with beans on toast, drinking tea, all of that.
Beans too?
All of that. Love it. All of that. Till this day.
I would eat the beans, but like the madesu, like take a madesu.
Yeah.
I would eat it with that, but like
everything, both baked beans and madesu. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm good. So I just got used to it. So I think I have both like Congolese culture, but also feel very British as well. Yeah, both.
How do you what's it called? After of course you eventually ended up leaving England, but after growing there, was it always like like, hey, I'm just going to go back there for vacation or something? Like, did you ended up going back?
You know what's crazy? I grew up around a lot of Congolese people because a lot of people left. So in my area where I grew up in North London, Congolese, Ghanaians, Nigerians, Somalians, Irish, Turkish, all like immigrants. We all were together. So even though I didn't go back to the Congo since I left, I always was around it. Like my older friends, older brother, like I was around Congolese people all the time, you know, uncles, cousins, etc. So
around the culture,
everything was just there. So I never felt the need to go back at the time. I was very tied to the culture still. But like I said, in our area in North London, it was just immigrants for the most part. Even the school I went to was mostly immigrants. So I've always been around it. I was comfortable with different cultures. And I began traveling the world from age 9 playing football. Yeah. So I've always been exposed to different cultures, different people. And I like it like that.
Yeah. So you became Steve, the little celebrity from Congo.
A little bit, because what happened is my area is very small.
Yeah.
So people till this day haven't left. They don't leave that area. But from age 9, like I said, 10, 11, 12, because of football tournaments, I was traveling to like Europe and different places. So I would come back with stories like, this is what Italy's like. And you should see Spain or you should see Portugal. And they would ask me this. So I was able to like be the guy that people came to that knew the world because I was getting to go for football. So yeah, from very early, I was a very world cultured sort of person.
Wow. Honestly, it makes you dream.
Yeah.
I mean, from I think it's just experience from like first starting football from a very young age, but also just experiencing going to different places and all that, but also with a certain mentality that you have to go ahead and fight. I want to ask, when did it switch into your head that you're like, okay, like, hey, like now I gotta go ahead and it's no more playground, it's not recess anymore, and there's a future in this. When did it hit you?
The first day I got to Arsenal. First day. Because you walk in there and you're doing the tour of the stadium and I'm seeing pictures of Ian Wright. No, at the time it was Nicholas Anelka, Dennis Bergkamp, Arsene Wenger had just come there. And every year they would cut the bottom 10 players. We had 25 guys on the team.
10 players?
10 every year.
Wait, they cut it at 10, okay.
10. 10 cut, 10 add. 25. They kept 25 on the team. 10 would cut, 10, 15 would stay. And you knew it was cutthroat. And I knew this was serious, and they wouldn't sugarcoat it. I lasted 5 years in that system before I got the cut, right? When I got to 14. So when you get to Arsenal, that kind of level, at that age, they don't lie, they don't play. Like winning games is important. They want you to enjoy it. You have to develop. For sure, development was first. But if you lose to Tottenham, like it's a big deal. Like that's a big rivalry. You know what I mean? It's like if we wouldn't play the teams up north much, like Man U, Liverpool, Man City, whatever. Not much. We played the teams, there's 26 teams in London. We played most of them. Fulham, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Wimbledon back then, Charlton. Big games, man, like with parents going crazy. Right? I mean, it was like heated and we're like 10, 11 years old. And it's like, it matters because we went to school with these people. Like my friend might play for Aston Villa, but I'm going to play him on Sunday. You know what I mean? So football's never been a game for me, unfortunately, that was like I could just only enjoy. There's always been results attached to it because I was in it serious from a young age. And sometimes I wish it wasn't like that, but that's what I've known. Yeah.
Yeah, I just being serious about it, and I think knowing the potential that you have ahead of you, and also the lack of chances. It's not like 60% of people are just going to go ahead and go pro or something. So yeah, no,
you don't. My dad would tell me that early on. Like the chances of actually going pro is slim. It's even slimmer going pro at Arsenal. That's harder because the whole time I was there, the only person that made it through was first Ashley Cole. He was like 4 or 5 years above me. Then there was a guy called Jermaine Pennant. And then after me was like Jack Wilshere. And that's it. Like who really made it. Wow. It's hard because there's so many good players there, but you end up going to different teams, lower levels, changing. So that's football, man. In England, it's cutthroat. So I knew that, we're trying to make it, but the chance of actually making it is very slim. But when you're young, you don't think like that. You think you're going to be that one. And life doesn't always work out like that. So but I also like it because it made me, from a young age, realize how hard you have to work to actually accomplish great things. Like, it takes a lot of hard work. And that was instilled from me just being at Arsenal.
I understand that. How much did you like playing your position at first?
Loved because I was always an attacking player. Like my older brother's a defender. Like I've never understood like why you'd want to play defense. Like I don't get it. Like until this day, like I don't understand. Like when I'm working with these young kids and all of that, like you want to score goals, you want to get the ball, you want to dribble, you want to celebrate, you know. But so I was always playing as an attacking player. Every team I've been on, so Arsenal. Then I went to college in Ohio for 2 years. Played for Sounders, obviously as an attacking player. So I've always been more of an attacking player. But that's the way I play. You know, the game came very easy to me, very natural. Like I just was almost like I'm born with the ball at my foot. But yeah, I had to develop the other side after. But I love playing football. Like for me, it was like the only thing that made me happy, how I made friends, how I saw the world. Like everything for me was around the ball. So till this day, as a grown man now, I'm so grateful for that sport because it's really taken me all over the world. Most of my friends I've met through that sport. My best experiences have been through that sport. Some of my worst experiences, it's just always been somehow intertwined with football.
Yeah, I think as a defender, the thrill of going ahead in a 1v1 challenge,
I don't get it.
It's amazing.
I don't get it. I don't understand.
I'm going to tell you, like,
I don't get it.
Assuming it'll be scrimmage or practice, there was time a player is getting the ball passed to him, the forward player I'm marking, I could simply go ahead, launch myself, intercept the ball and do that. But I like letting him get the ball and having him face me on the one-on-one. That thrill.
Yeah, I don't get it. So it's like, I'm sure, but I'm on the opposite. I'm like, when I get the ball and I see you coming, I'm like, it's time. I'm like, here we go, it's time. Let me bring out the step overs. Like,
goal is nice too. I remember, I still remember I don't score much goal. I'm a defender. But the first time I scored goal, I remember I had to make it special. I went ahead, I had to sue and everything.
You should, man. Yeah. If you're not used to scoring, you have to celebrate. You have to.
Yeah, it's the best part of the game, you know, just the emotion, but also just knowing that even as a defender, knowing that you're involved in like the win, like those games where it's like the forward have done their parts, maybe 1-0,
I get it,
and like you know that okay, now everything's on the line for you. It's kind of like where,
I get it. And as a coach, I appreciate the defensive part of the game more. Because that's way harder for me. Like stopping a team from scoring, building a good team. I actually focus more on defensive. Since I became a coach, I've appreciated the goalkeeper and defenders more than when I was a player. Because when I was a player, it's like, you know, we're doing the most work. We'll have to score. We have to do this. But when you actually take a step back and you have to coach 22 players, you realize how important it is to actually be good defensivors. So that's honestly, my mind's changed.
When it matters the most, I mean, like some people say defenders will win you titles.
Absolutely.
Forwards will win you games, which is true. But like when I feel like when it's on the line, let's say I recently, like say play competition. We were in California with my team. We played every game. Our mentality first in defense in the back line where we just like we line up for waiting for the whistle. It's like, okay, we gotta go for a clean sheet. We made all the way in California. We gotta make sure.
I like that.
And even if some games ended in draws, but we had the satisfaction knowing that we did our part, and that was taking a step closer to the title. Or to the point where we got to the final. We got scored on 2 goals in the first half. It's a final in California. I remember my team and I, we looked at each other, and halftime it was just like, guys, we gotta wake up. It's we made it to a final. We paid a lot of money to be here, worked a lot. And I remember, like to say, one of the first goals they scored on us was a loose ball in the outside the box, and the player being in the alone and having time to take the shot and just making it in. Second half, when we came in, that mentality, there's a final at stake. I remember the same play almost happened. I remember throwing myself, launching my body and taking the what's it called, the shot straight to my hand. Those moments,
I love it.
Is when you want to be a defender.
No, I get it now. Now I get it. I get it. I absolutely get it.
Eventually we turned the game around. We went from 2-0 to turning it to a 2-2 in the last 10 minutes. And it was I think the best and the worst game of my life was that.
Really?
We ended up all the way, we scored at it was 35 minutes half. We scored one a quality goal to make it 2-2 with 1 minute left.
Oh man,
handball. PK.
Oh wow!
I remember.
Oh wow, yeah, that's tough.
For our penalties, I was on my knees. I was praying, and when we scored, I was like, "Oh, God is on our side."
You won.
On their penalty, I went on my knees. I prayed. There's only one game, whether a game I've watched or whether a game I've played, that brought me to tears. It was that game. I remember being in the hotel and I could not. I thought of everything, and
That's football, man. I love it, man.
Yeah,
all the emotion. People don't get it.
So
yeah,
today I want to ask
yeah.
you, to your time in Arsenal, what do you think was your favorite time, favorite moment?
I'll tell you, and I told this story to many people before, and it's actually crazy because we're sitting here the night after he just won his 8th Ballon d'Or.
Wow.
So when I played for the Sounders, we played against Messi, right? Barcelona.
Really?
We played that Barcelona with Guardiola, Zlatan, Xavi, Iniesta, PK. But we played that Barcelona in 2009. Mm-hmm. But I actually played Barcelona when I was 13. Because there was a tournament in Holland we used to go to. And our Arsenal team used to always enter tournaments 1 year above.
Okay.
So we went to Holland. And Barca, we were the 88s. We played against the 87s Barca. So Fabregas, PK, Messi. We didn't know who they were. We didn't know.
At the time, they were just
we didn't know. We're playing Barcelona.
Yeah.
6-2 we lost. This little kid, I mean, he was like up to my knee. Couldn't get a ball off him. Scored 4. And it's like years later, I connected the two. I'm like, that was him. That has to be him, right? So for me, just having that experience to share the pitch with Fabregas, PK, Messi, like 3 of the best players ever, especially the best ever. That was quite a good experience. But just everything, man. The friends I made from there, competing. I mean, I remember some games, we beat Tottenham 4-3 1 year, having beat 3-0 down. Like, I still remember those games.
Like
and that's
a comeback.
Yes. And that's like 20 years ago, right? 20, 25 years ago. I still remember it. So yeah.
Wow. I mean, first a comeback versus a big rival,
and
to end up like not just go from 3-0 to 3-3, but to go.
We won the game,
and
it was like crazy. We went crazy.
How does it, like, how physical does it get to play with your rival like that in England?
It's big. And the thing, the English game was at that time physical. Look, the weather's not great. The pitches are all grass and muddy, and I hated playing in the cold. Hated it. But most of the season was in the cold. So when it be a cold game and these big physical defenders, I used to just hate it. And I grew late and I was small. So I didn't like it, but you learn so much, man. You learn to play with adversity. You learn to fight through problems, things like that. But Arsenal-Tottenham, for me, was still the one, because that rivalry, man, because all the kids from Arsenal-Tottenham, we all lived together in the same areas, went to the same schools. We used to compete against each other in school, see each other in the neighborhood. Then on the weekend, we have to play, the red side, the white side. And I lived in Tottenham. So I was crossing the line 3 times a week to go training. I'm from Tottenham.
How did you make it past the neighborhood?
I cover the Arsenal logo. Like, it was like, I lived in Tottenham. So I was crossing the line 3 times a week for training and games to go to Arsenal, which was like in an area called Finsbury Park. So yeah, man, all of it is good, but just good memories, man. Good, those are good memories, man.
So when you're facing a big guy like Piqué, what's it like? Like, you guys trash talk, like, or do they trash talk in Spanish?
No, the thing is, when we play them as an MLS team, they're coming here for preseason, so they're way more relaxed. But what happens is they're competitors. So if you start, once the game starts, they're gonna compete. They might think like, they're much better than us, which they are, but we want to win. And we're like coming after them. I think so after like 10 minutes or so, we're in a real game. And then they start playing. Then you start seeing Puyol telling Xavi, stand here or go there. And they took it seriously. I mean, Messi scored 2.
Wait, Puyol, Xavi, all these guys.
They played.
Come on, you played the best team in history.
Yeah, and people aren't going to believe me. They're not going to believe me because I can't find the video. That's why I feel bad. But I killed Dani Alves. Like, they won't believe me. I'm going to show you a text after that will prove it.
I want to see.
I mean, from Thierry Henry, because he played.
Oh, really?
In that game.
I got to see. I will show you. He also played in that game.
He played for Barca. He played for Barca. Wow. So, but Alves is right back, and Alves is one of my favorite players. But I was going against Dani Alves. Like, he did not want to see me. I was giving Alves problems. You know what I mean? So these are great memories, man. Really good memories. But yeah, that was a proper Barca team. Pep was the coach. They beat us 4-0. Yaya Toure was there. Like, it was that team. Yeah, it was that team.
Yeah, really, these type of things can only boost your love of the game. Your focus of the game. You knowing that, hey, you're with those. I mean, at the moment, like you said, these guys were just people. But as the time go by and one is on the headline, one is on the headline, I think the thought that knowing that you stood head to toe or whatever.
For me, it's like That's what it is, right? When you play any sport, especially this sport, you want to get to the top. Very few get to La Liga, Premiership, national team, World Cups. But football's so big, it's played all over the world. So when you get to share the pitch, like I said, at age 14, I played against Messi, PK, Fabregas, without knowing who they were. Then I saw them again like 10 years later in a stadium with 40,000 people. These are the very best at the sport. So why not test myself? How good is he really? How good am I? If I think I'm good, can I compete against these guys? Yeah. So I always push myself. When I crossed the line, I never thought anybody was better than I was. Like, you always have to have that mentality where you're like, I'm the best. You have to have that, right? But you also know in your heart, like, there's a reason they are where they are. Like, so I learned a lot from them as well. Yeah. Yeah,
it was a question I was going to ask you. What's your mentality looking like? Because you did talk about the fact that it was cowgirl, like they caught 10 players every year, every season. So now you're a player that have to step on the field every day, knowing that not only that you're just competing with yourself as mentally, you're also competing with someone else who also has that killer mentality that he wants your spot. Like, let's say if you're starting, he wants Steve's spot. What's your mentality, and how do you stay tough?
I'm so grateful that Arsenal put that in us, because I'll tell you, people don't understand about the professional game is this. On my Sounders teams, there was 30 people on the team. 11 are playing on the weekend. 18 is on the game day squad roster. 12 aren't even dressing. So these guys are my friends. We're hanging out. We're, going for pizza together. But they want my spot. Like, we're competing for these spots. One of my best friends on the Sounders at the time was the same position as me. We both can't play, but that's my friend. So it's like, it is what it is, right? So, but I was used to that, because in Arsenal, that's what it was. They did not lie. They were like, look, there's 25 of you, 10 will not be here next year. Compete. And that's what it was every day. And a lot of pressure on yourself, but you learn to play under pressure. Like, I never felt pressure when I played. Like, before every game, you always get a little bit nervous before the kickoff, which is normal. I used to like that. But once the whistle blew, I just play, whether it's playoff game, preseason game.
Tell yourself at those moments, try to make it go away.
I'm looking around, these people came to watch us. Let's give them a show. Let's play. Like, they came, they paid. Like, people are fighting traffic and leaving work early and getting babysitters just to watch us. Let's have a great time. Like, let's have a great time. So I loved it. I love playing in front of fans. I loved it.
I gotta say, because even as a player right now, like, when I first started and all, I got those same shivers. It didn't leave me right away, and I want to know what's the mentality from Coach Steve. How do you get that away?
I think it's normal. I think, honestly, I tell my players all the time when I'm coaching now, like, if you're not even a little bit nervous, something's wrong. Like, you should feel a little bit of something. You should. Otherwise, you're probably in the wrong sport. Because it means something to you, right? It matters. But I think once the whistle blows, I always tell myself, it's the same sport you've done your whole life. Nothing new to this. Nothing you're going to see today that you haven't seen before. Which was always true, except against Barcelona. Because what they did, I didn't see before. Like, the way they played, that was new. That was new to us at the time. We didn't know what that was. But in general, we're playing against Galaxy, Real Salt Lake, Portland Timbers, whoever you're playing against. They're good, we're good, they're prepared, we're prepared. As long as I knew that I trained during the week and did my homework, I watched the film, I was in shape, I knew what I did my massages, did my rehab, did all of that, trained well, heard the coach's tactics. I'm as prepared as I can be.
Confident.
Let's just play. I'm prepared. Once you're prepared, I think you get a lot of confidence. And then some days it goes really well, and some days, no matter what you do, it's just not your day. And you come back and you say, okay, we lost. I'll lick my wounds. I'll come back the next day. I'll fight again. So
there's only so much you can control in the way that there's 21 other players. On the
exactly. Floor, A referee decision, whether you can't control some things. And sometimes the opponent is just much better than you are.
Yeah, and sometimes,
And it's just like,
opponent's being better than you. Luck involved in the game. You might make a shot that is so great, but the wind just push it a little bit to the cross.
Exactly. What can you do?
So you went ahead through all these experiences in England, and you did also play college.
I did
football.
I did. Yeah. So I was at Arsenal, like I said, for 5 years. After Arsenal released me, I kind of went a bit wayward, where it really affected me because I was so used to that. So my focus on soccer wasn't where it should be, and then I ended up coming to America. And I went to college at the University of Akron without knowing college soccer, scholarships. I didn't know nothing about this. But, I ended up there and I just did 2 years. My freshman year was okay. My sophomore year, everything just came together, man. Like, led the nation in scoring, Soccer America Player of the Year, the team's winning every game, scoring highlight goals that I've dreamed of scoring, goals that I did on FIFA. It's just working for me on the pitch. Then it's like, look, MLS is very interested in you. And it's like, you're not going to do your junior and senior year. You're going to go pro. And that was the same year.
Straight from sophomore year.
Sophomore year. Sounders were coming to MLS as a new team. The head coach was a guy called Ziggy Schmid. Ziggy Schmid used to coach Columbus in Ohio. Yeah. So he'd been to my games. So I was like, okay, I've got a good chance of getting picked by the Sounders because the coach has seen me play. And so Sounders had the number 1 pick. I left school as a sophomore, didn't do my junior year. I entered the draft early, and then Sounders took me number 1, and that was like that was a dream coming full circle. Yeah.
Wow. When you didn't end up moving to England and playing in America, did you get more joy out of playing or getting back that joy?
That's exactly the word, getting back the joy. Yeah. I loved college. I loved it because college was like, it was everything. Like I lived with 3 guys on the team. So I was getting the college experience. Like we're having a great time. We're hanging out, but then I'm part of a team, like a brotherhood, and we're playing games. Ohio's freezing cold like that as well. So there's that adversity piece of it as well. And it just gave me more time. Like at 17, I was not ready to go pro in Europe. And that's usually where they're judging you. It gave me 2-3 more years to develop, and I used it. I came to college. I learned how to think more like a pro, the way I trained, the way I was getting more in the gym, things like that. That 2 years I spent in Ohio made me able to last how I did in MLS. Because when I got to the Sounders, I was ready to go. From day one as a rookie, I played every game. I was a starter. And all my years for the Sounders, we did so many great things back then as a team. And for me, that 2 years in college, it made me love and enjoy soccer. And if I wish I could have done 4 years somehow, because I loved it so much, but I couldn't say no to a pro contract. I couldn't say no.
Yeah. So I want to ask, as an English person now coming in America, because as much as you did have the culture of Congo around you back in England, but now for all of these other guys around you, it's like, oh, Steve is an English guy. They went ahead and know you about your accent. Like we say
always. Yes, it was water, butter. Put the butter. Like they find it weird. But for me, it's like we're talking English though. Like, you know what I mean? Like so that's how we talk. But it was good, man. I had very good teammates in college. And like I said, for me, everywhere is like when I was an outsider coming in, but you earn the respect on the pitch. Like, when they saw that he's gonna come in, he's gonna work hard, he's gonna push himself, he's gonna make our team better. It was easy. Just like, all 25 of us on the team were close. I had a very good coach at the time as well, who recruited me, who went on to have his own success in MLS. Just great memories. What
do you think it was your biggest challenge from going to England to America?
Leaving friends and family. I think that's it, because I left home just before my 18th birthday. So I'm young. I come from a big family, both parents, 7 of us kids. I have so many friends back there, and I'm going from London to Ohio, and I don't know nobody, and I didn't have a phone. Like one thing, I came to college, I was like, I'm coming in, so I'm not playing around. Like no phone. I didn't even get a phone. I want no one to distract me. I used to use Skype to talk to my family and email, and that's it. You could not reach me because I was so focused. I was like, no phone, no TV in my room. Like, again, I went to the extreme. I don't think people have to do that, but that's what I did. Because I was like, I have one chance to make it. So no distractions. And so it was...
You went up to go pro after your sophomore year, so...
Exactly. It works for me.
Recommendation.
For me, it works. Yeah. So I didn't have the college experience. I wasn't, again, nothing wrong with it. I wasn't at the parties. I wasn't doing that. I was in bed at the right time. I was, do my homework and then go to practice and watch the film. And I was watching every sort of learning from people. I just was obsessed with it. I was in the gym. I was obsessed with it. I wanted to always train more. I had my own, big up coach Dave Gifford. He was a second assistant coach. He gave me a bag with 5 balls that were just mine. So anytime, because I want to train more. Here's the key to the facility. Take this, and I would go in there and just do it and just do it and just do it. And he helped me a lot with that. So I just was obsessed with it because I knew, let me make this small sacrifice now. It's going to get me where I need to go to. And I did.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Making the small sacrifice now. I want to know, you're playing, from England? You're playing here in, in the US. Did you ever had somebody that really impacted you? That when things were going a certain way, that was always clicking back? Yeah,
I think my coach, Ziggy Schmid, because, when I met him, because Ziggy Schmid was like the legend. He was like in America, like the Alex Ferguson, the Arsene Wenger. So when I came into preseason, in the beginning, he had me on the bench. And I knew after like 2 weeks, like I'm the best left winger you have on the team. But he would not play me. And he had a guy ahead of me that I'm like, there's no way. But he made me earn it. He really made me earn it. And then when the time was right, he put me in. And once I earned his trust, that was it. Like I was never going back out again. Like I came in and showed him. So he always put his arm around me. I had a good bond with him. So I would say he was a big impact. And also Caleb Porter, he coached Portland Timbers, he coached Columbus Crew. He was my coach at Akron. He got me from London. So I can't not thank him, right? He brought me from London to Ohio, 2 years in college together. He helped me a lot. When I made my debut, he was in the stands. He flew here to watch me in Seattle. So people like that, I think the two coaches that I had really impacted me a lot. And then just my peers, like I got like people like Landon Donovan, who for me, we had the same agent. I got to know Landon quite well. For me, he was the best American player that I ever saw. Being able to pick his brain and ask him questions. Like I said, I was a kid in London when Thierry Henry was Thierry Henry. I mean, this was like Michael Jordan. Like this was like I was running home to sit on the TV to make sure I don't miss Henry's playing. Yeah. Then he came to play for New York, and I had a teammate that had played with him at Arsenal. Yeah. And I'm like, I have to meet Henry. Like we played against Barcelona, I wanted to get his shirt. Yeah. But they had no names on the back because it was preseason. Yeah. Like there's no point. Then when he came to sign for New York, I'm like, I'm meeting Henry. So when New York came to Seattle, I made it so I went to his hotel to meet him. And we ended up sitting down for several hours and, we exchanged contacts, and Henry became a very good role model like that as well.
When you recall you cooking...
he texted me because when I retired, I'll show you. When I retired, I said to him, okay, thanks for the advice and stuff. Now it's time for me to step away from the game. And he sent me a text. He's like, I'll never forget when came with Barcelona. He says, you were killing, he called him Daniel. He goes, you were killing Daniel Alves. That's what he said. And I was like, this is like a screenshot. I'm sending everyone, like, what do you mean? Like, this is Henry. So yeah, but he was just a good guy. Just good advice. All of them, like, even when I had my injury, I had a very serious injury, and I received probably, I would say, thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of emails and letters of support. The very first one came from David Beckham. The very first one, right? And I'm in the...
When did you guys meet?
When I played him for the Galaxy. He's playing for the Galaxy. And then he was trying to get in my head. I didn't know that. So I'm left wing, he's right wing.
Oh, okay.
So and it's 0-0. Tough game, playoffs, we're going at it. And they're like Robbie Keane, Landon Donovan, Dave Beckham. These are legends. They played in 4 or 5 World Cups. Yeah. What a young guys trying to knock them off. And he came into my head and he says, you ready to run? Like that. Like, what do you mean? Like, you ready to run? Because I'm not going to stop. Like, basically like that. And I'm like, wow, like that, So then after the game, he came and we exchanged jerseys. After the game. And so when I had my injury, he sent me a nice email, and he was always checking in every 3 or 4 months. Hey, you want to see how you're doing? I've been asking about you. Always nice guy. So I'm like, I'm from England. This is the king of England. Like, this is David Beckham. Yeah. So all those big names, for them to take the time, that was huge for me. But every teammate I had, coaches, assistant coaches, there's so many people that make the day-to-day of a soccer team work, like the massage therapists, the physios, everybody. I always had so much respect for them because they just it's a dream, man. You wake up in the morning to go drive down to play for 2 or 3 hours, and that's your job. And it's almost unbelievable that's a real job, but I was able to do it for so many years, and I'm grateful, man.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a job, does it? Like, knowing that something that you enjoy, like people say, do what you love, and you feel like you never work.
You never work. I loved it. I loved it. Like, some days were hard. I went through phases with the Sounders where, you might lose 3 or 4 games in a row. It's hard to go into the office on Monday. It's hard to go into work because it's like, we're not playing well right now. Maybe I missed an open goal. And I'm like, but you live with that, because then the highs come back around, right? Like, winning Open Cups, making the playoffs, winning playoff games, scoring playoff goal, all of that stuff, it makes it worth it. But it's a good job. It's also a very tough job because,
So let's say you got drafted with the number 1 pick in the super draft. Yeah. You got to Sounders. What's it like knowing that, okay, now you're pro? Because that's literally like 3 continents you get there. Africa, England,
Europe, and America.
America. And you're looking at your career and all that. And when at that moment you get drafted and you're looking at what's ahead of you, what was it like? What was it emotionally, mentally, and emotionally?
Yeah, I allowed myself just to enjoy it for the moment, because I'm like, this has been such a long road, such a long journey. I've been away from family and friends for a couple of years, all of that. Just enjoy it, man. So that night in St. Louis where the draft was, I just enjoyed it, man. And I had probably the best night's sleep I've had. Just like, you did it. Then knowing when I wake up in the morning, that's when the real hard work starts. Because in college, I'm the number 1 pick. I'm the best player in college. I'm at the top. I arrived to the Sounders, back to the bottom.
Exactly.
Rookie. You have to earn it again. Came into that locker room. Casey Keller is there. This is the legendary goalkeeper. Like, he doesn't care what I've done. Frederick Lundberg, one of the best players ever. I watched him as a kid when he's playing for Arsenal. He's now my teammate. Like, he doesn't even know what Akron is. Like, it doesn't matter. You need to earn. So things like that. I came in, and Freddie Montero, we just signed this young Colombian superstar forward as well, young. So I'm playing with these guys. I had to earn the respect. Like I said, you earn it between the lines, which I did. But I knew the hard work was starting then. Like, nothing was going to be given to me. Like I said, I spent the first preseason on the bench. I was not starting. The first ever game in Sounders history, I was on the bench. I thought I should be playing. I was on the bench. Then the next week, I started and had an assist. Game 3, scored. Game 4, scored. And then never left again. But the first game, I came into the game and I was pissed because I should be playing. So I used that, right? But it was not given. I had to earn every single minute. Yeah.
How was the locker room like? What's it called, being a new player, and how did the players around you brought you up? Because although though it's a new team, those who are there are not just new players who are playing
standards. They taught me the standards. The veteran players that I had just taught me the standards. Like, this is what it means to be a pro. Like, training doesn't begin. They say, oh, we'll start at 10, we end at 12. You better be there at 8:30. That's when it really begins. You come in, you do your treatments, you have your breakfast, you do your stretching, you do all of that. If you're a rookie, you fill up the water bottles, you take the balls out, like, you do the rookie duties as well. When training's finished,
rookie duties, like reading or written?
Yeah, no, it's unspoken, but you better do it. Yeah, you better do it. Now, when you start playing really good and scoring a lot of goals, they'll leave you alone a little bit. They'll back off a bit. But like Brian Schmetzer, who's now the head coach, he was my assistant. If I left the pitch before the veteran, he would call me back. Like, there's no way they should be outworking you. Stay back. So he would call me back. So Schmetz, that first year, was hard on me. And obviously he's a great friend now, but they taught me this is what it means to be a pro. This is how you stay at the top, right? It's like, you don't, like, the team training, the 90 minutes of team training is good, but it's the extra stuff. Like, what do you need to work on specifically? Can I take an assistant coach and say, hey coach, can you give me 30 minutes, 50 minutes on my dribbling, on my shooting, on my heading, whatever the case? I learned those kinds of things. So I would say the older players in that locker room taught me how to be a pro. How you carry yourself, how I remember my first road trip, we went to New York or something, or to Toronto. Yeah. I'm like, we're in Toronto, I've got a game tomorrow. I'm like out, I'm eating pizza, I'm doing this and that. Yeah. And oh my God, like, and I'm seeing how the other guys are, like Lundberg, who came from, obviously, from Arsenal, high level, just everything was so much, how he ate before the game, how he rested, how he did, like, I was like out in Toronto, downtown, seeing like that on a game day. And I'm like, I can't be doing that. Your energy should be for the game. So things like that, learning small things by observing them. That was probably the biggest thing that happened to me, I think, yeah.
If you have a favorite teammate, well, like, if you got to recall one, like, okay, assuming you got a big news, maybe outside of the team, you got to ring up one person, the first person to tell who.
That's a great question. I go back to my college teammates. So like, there's a few of them, like, like Darlington Nagby, who for me is one of the best players ever in America, plays for Columbus Crew still now. We were college together. So like, we just had a great bond. Him, Teal Bunbury is the same. So I think that's more for my college teammates, I think. When I think here, in the Sounders, James Riley was like a mentor for me because he was driving me to training. I didn't have a car my first year. Yeah. So I was carpooling with him. So he was someone that I became very close to, still am. And then, I would say probably James Riley is who I would have called back then and be like, this just happened. And then Patrick Iyani, who was a centre back, but he was my roommate on the road. Okay. So we went to road games. He was my roommate. We became very close, and he was like a typical defender. So again, in training, we'd be up against each other a lot. Yeah. But he was probably my best friend on the team at the time. Yeah.
What's the favorite place you've ever been to while being what's it called?
Chicago. My favorite US city, Chicago. I love that road trip. Yeah, Chicago was good. New York was good. Toronto was also good. LA is LA, but I like Chicago. That was a good trip.
What's the least favorite place?
Take your pick, man. When we have to play in Dallas, like we go to Frisco. I didn't like that one.
It's hot.
It's hard. Yeah. Going to Colorado was tough because of altitude. So hard to breathe up in the mountains. So playing in Denver, I used to hate playing in Denver. It was always tough. Utah was the same. So those some road trips that were just hard. Houston in the summer, 100 degrees. Yeah, very tough.
So later on, you did what's it called? You found a lot of success in your your first year. You also been considered to be rookie of the year. You played around all these big pros, like you say, was what's it called? Setting standards for you as a
Yeah.
player. I want to know, there was a big event that happened for you. You did went to go through an injury.
Yeah.
But what was it like mentally when you did go through that injury? Because physically, doctors would tell you this is what happens when this person get hurt. But mentally, you as a player, knowing everything you've been through, what was it like?
It's the mental part is harder. The physical part, like, you break a bone or it's tough.
Yeah.
You're doing rehab, it's tough. The mental part, because you become very detached from the team. We're all I'm still driving to training.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm in the locker room for the team talk before training. And then they go out and I stay in.
Yeah.
They're playing and I'm learning to walk again. I'm learning to use my leg. So you become very detached. Then you're not part of the wins and losses. You're not part of the plane flights to and from game. You're not in the team hotel. You're very detached. So that year and a half I was out, mentally, you got to keep yourself motivated. Mm-hmm. And you listen, also allow yourself to really feel down. Sometimes you just feel like you want to give up and this is not worth it. And it's normal. It's part of being human. But I think I always had a lot of support from my teammates. Like my first training back, how everybody they were clapping for me and welcoming me back. And my first training back, I was very frustrated because I was trying to do certain things, I couldn't do them. And I was like really frustrated. And one of my older teammates, Zach Scott, came up to me, put his arm around me. He goes, "No one is expecting you to be Steve Zakuani right away. Take your time. We're just happy you're back." And that gave me a lot of freedom to take my time to eventually build myself back. But I think when you have an injury like that, the first thing you lose is the bond with the team, because you become like an injured player. You're separate from the team, and you have to become obsessive about your rehab. Like you really push yourself, but not too much. You still got to find time to detach and go to the cinema with your friends, go to dinner with people, like, do other things away from, because it becomes just about rehab and it can be overwhelming. So, and then the light end of the tunnel, set goals, say I want to get back by this date, but don't tell anyone. Mm-hmm. That was advice I got from David Beckham, because he had an Achilles when he went to AC Milan at 35, and they told him, "You're done." And he came back and played some more. Yeah. He said, "I set a date in my mind. I didn't tell anyone. It was my own date. Then I didn't make it. I could move it. There was no pressure. So I did that. I knew a date. I'm coming back by this date. It never happened. All I had to do is just adjust. Okay, I'll push it back by a month. But I didn't tell anyone that. So there was no pressure from anyone, just myself. But it gave me something to work towards. And when I did make it back and got back, it was like, you know what? That was a tough journey, but always look back and it's like, it was worth it. The lessons I learned, the person I became, the adversity I faced, how I can now look back and be like, I'm a stronger person because of it. That's invaluable.
Wow. I want to know, first, it's amazing to just hear mentally how you carry yourself. I have to say, it's impressive. Honestly, I'm taking away more than the people watching. You had your time in Sounders. Eventually, you did go to Portland Timber. What was it like going to the neighbor?
Yeah, that one's crazy because you don't go from Sounders to Timbers or Timbers to Sounders. These are rivals. They do not like each other. The fans don't like each other. But people have to understand, at that time, I was trying to get my career back on track. The head coach of the Portland Timbers at that time was my college coach.
Okay.
So it was someone I knew, someone I trusted. 3 of the teammates on the team were my college teammates. So I was trying to go somewhere where it could be very familiar to try and rebuild my career. If they had all been in Kansas, I'd have gone there. If they'd all been in LA, I'd have gone there. They just happened to be in Portland. And I was like, I wish there was somewhere else. But I can't control it. But I made that move and it didn't work out. I went to Portland and the love of the game was not there. I never adjusted well. I did 1 year there. And I'm like, you know what? It's time to do something else, man. Like I'm gonna, now the 2-year contract, I played 1 year and I told them like, I'm not coming back because I'm going to go and move on with my life because I don't feel the joy anymore. My body's in pain. And that's what that was. And then I came back up to Seattle and then started working with the Sounders right away again because I did the year with the Timbers, but I'm a Sounders person. Like, I'm the first draft pick. I've been there for so long. I've been in the community. Like I know the people here, they've watched me grow. I came to Seattle age 20, I think. I'm 35. So it's like I've been there 15 years, man. So it's like everyone here, loved me. I loved them back, the fans and the Sounders fans, the Sounders people. And I took a little year break from them because I had to for my career, but I was always going to come back and I'm really happy to be back living in Seattle.
Yeah, that is a thought I had because you were pretty much there like in the creation of the club or like, from the very start. There are people right now, like older people, maybe 50 something that will still recall when they saw you play your first minutes or so. So I wanted to know what was the reaction of fans when, not only you left, but with the reaction when you came back home.
when I knew it'd be okay, I played against the Sounders for the Timbers. And I came back and there was 60,000 people there. And I got subbed out like 67th minute and the whole stadium stood up and applauded.
Oh, wow.
And then I thought, okay, they still like me. Like, I don't know. There was no booze, nothing, which I would have understood. But they clapped, they appreciated. I think they knew where I was at in my career. They'd seen me, how good I played for them. They saw the injury. I was trying to get myself back. And then that's all that was. So yeah, I think after that, then 6 months later, I was living back in Seattle. So yeah, I think I never lost that connection with the Sounders fans. Until this day, you know, I walk in the street or I'm at the stadium and, you know, people appreciate what those early MLS Sounders players did. Like I was part of the building. The success the team has now, we helped to build it. And I think people don't forget that, which is good. Yeah,
the team has seen so much success. Most recently with winning the Champions League.
Yeah, huge. Yeah.
Really recently, as of today, yesterday, winning a game versus Dallas. I was there watching that playoff game.
Yeah.
Great game and all.
Yeah.
But you're one of the like just pioneers. Like, Stone.
Yeah. So yeah, like I say, on the team now, the only guy that's there is Montero because he came back. Freddie and I, you know, we helped. We had, I think, almost 40 goals between us in 2.5 years as a 21-year-old, 22-year-old kids, you know. We were young. I think he had like 23, 24. I had like 16, 17. But people don't forget that, right? Like even some of the players now, like every time I walk there, someone like Nuhu, you know, he greets me, he says, "Oh, respect legend. It's always like that, right? So it's like there's a lot of good appreciation from people there, and it'll be the same for them. Like when they move on, Sounders in 10 years will remember what Ladero did, Rui Diaz did, what Jordan Morris did, Christian did. So I think it's just the way it goes. I think that's a good thing about sports. Like you build a legacy and people are grateful for it. They have memories attached to it and they see you as part of their life. And I'm grateful to play that small role for a lot of people.
Nuhu seems like a really funny guy from like watching with the field.
Funny guy, good guy, great player, great person. Yeah, he's obviously one of the best. One of the best. And and then he knew who is Nuhu. That's what I'm saying. He's just himself.
I like this little thing he does, like when he's playing left back, he receives the ball, he's going to like raise his hand, he's going to send it long, what is he like watching that, of course, like an opponent, you're like all pissed. I'm fully a fan. I'm watching it, I just laugh because it's the way he plays mentally with people.
He gets in people's heads, he's talking a lot, he's trash talking, he's doing that, but he gets in your face. But the reason why I think we let him do it is he backs it up. He plays well. Yeah. If he's doing that and was a liability, you're like, oh, Nuhu, you need to cut it out. But Nuhu does all his stuff. He does all the Nuhu stuff, and then he plays really good. And had an amazing assist for Jordan last night. I think you accept it. It just comes to the whole package.
Yeah. I want to know, like kind of a little parenthesis here. How do you prepare for game? What's your pre-game looking like when you were playing?
Yeah, when I was playing, so you build habits over the years. What works doesn't work. For me, it became very easy. You know, before home games, we have to arrive there an hour and a half before the game. So I'd get there probably usually 2 hours before. I always would just sit in my locker. I had my music going, like my UK rap and UK grime music going in my ears, get myself pumped up. Ziggy Schmid would always come out and talk to us an hour and 15 before the game. Here's the lineup, here's the team talk, here's the opponent's lineup, here's the set pieces. And once he did that, then I got changed. Massage, always a quick 15-minute massage before the game. Then I took my shower. I came back, did some stretching, went out and warmed up. Came back in. I listened to the same, like 5 minutes after warm-up coming in before I had to go back to the tunnel. I had the same 2 or 3 songs that I always played. Always. I forget what it was like, but it was always UK music. So it's like, if I like artists, it was like, this is, and this is.
You still listen to UK drill right now?
Always. Yeah, but it's like, but this is even before drill. So I'm like, I'm dating myself here. I'm going back like old, old Skepta, old Dizzy Rascal, old Kano. Like these are like.
Name a UK rapper right now.
Right now, Central C.
Central C?
Yeah.
Central C.
Because all the kids play him. I'm like, who is this guy? Let me listen to him. And he's good, you know what I mean? So he's not my generation, but I know who Central C is. Dave's cold. Dave. So it'd be stuff like that I would play, right? Because that's what I'm listening to, my friends listen to. So yeah, just my own music. But music was big for me. I would always have I always had a Red Bull before I went out to the pitch. Always right before we went out to the tunnel, a Red Bull, get myself up. And before the game, we used to have these smelling salts that you'd break and and it would wake you up.
Those are very strong.
I loved it. So the team physio would come up to me. This is on the pitch. The final team talk. Ref's about to blow. do that, wake up, take it in. Okay, it's time to go.
I see somebody pass out from that.
Yeah, mine weren't that strong. No, it was like the last little boost, just open you up and okay, go. And then I'd always do a sprint before the whistle to make sure my body's feeling good. Okay, good. And the whistle blew and it's time to go. That was for home games. Home games always felt good for me, man, because like you're driving to the stadium, you're seeing the greet, you're getting closer. People are like in the bars and this and that. They're wearing your, and just like, this is really cool, man. And then when the game began, just like all the fans behind us, 30,000, 40,000, sometimes 60,000 fans. How can you not love that? How can you not? I never felt pressure playing at home. I always enjoyed it. And I had very good memories playing in front of those fans at home. And away games is different because your routine's controlled. You're with the team. You're in the team hotel. I used to hate being in a team hotel. The game's at 8 p.m. and we're there all day wasting time. Just kind of, I like playing at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, get it done. Just wake up, play the game, go. When you have to wait around for a game the whole day, there's more time for nerves to build and this and that. So I didn't like that too much. But I pretty much kept similar routine my whole career.
Oh, wow. I want to move on by asking now, because you're not just a player, you're also a coach.
Yes.
Yeah. You started coaching.
Yeah.
Where was the first team you started coaching?
Bellevue High School, and here's why. I was not supposed to be a coach. So no. And if you ask my coaches, they'd be like, he's not going to be a coach.
Or yourself, you didn't think of it?
No. There's some players you see in the locker room, you know that guy's going to be a coach. The way he's talking, he's looking at the coach, he's thinking about tactics.
I thought be the midfielders.
Usually, right? Yeah. I thought about myself. I was like, I need to have a good game. I need to kill the right back. I need to kill the left back. I need like that. I didn't think about the team like that. But when I retired, I'm doing some broadcasting and stuff. And I thought, would I enjoy coaching? Should I maybe try it? So I phoned my old coach, Ziggy Schmid. And I said, like, Ziggy, how did you know you want to be a coach? And he goes, look, here's my advice to you. Go coach in high school. Because it's only 3-month season. Yeah. And after that 3 months, you'll know if you like it or not. And so I went to Bellevue High School and I coached them and we had an amazing year. And I fell in love with it.
What you like the most about coaching in high school at first?
Just compete, like trying to outwit other coaches. Like, here's our strategy, here's our game plan. Maybe you go 5 minutes into the game and then they've done something you didn't expect. Okay, how are we going to adjust? How are we going to do this and that? That's one. I love the tactics part of it. Yeah. But more so, I like youth coaching because you can mold young minds. It's like giving a player confidence. We had one kid in particular at Bellevue High School. I arrived there not knowing their previous history. So we cut him and put him on JV. And they came to me like, coach, no, it's a mistake. He should be on varsity. I said, no, it's my decision. I'm the boss. He's a JV player. Yeah. That kid put his head down, said, I'll prove you wrong. After 1 week, he was killing JV. I'm like, okay, come varsity, let's just see. When he came in, I said, what a mistake we made. This guy, he's going to be our number 10. Yeah. And he ended up being our best player that season. But seeing how the kid, and then we built such a good bond that year with that team. That team, Bellevue team had won, I think, 14 games in like 3 or 4 years. And we went 17, 1-2. Yeah. 1 loss in the championship game. Wow. 1 loss. Wow. And we played good. So being able to transform a team like that, making them believe in themselves. Yeah,
some sort of mentality. Because you're passing your mentality.
It's that youth. We brought in the standards. Like training starts at 3. If you're here at 2:55, you're late. Things like that, right? And then watching them become young men and growing. So I like coaching youth for those reasons. And one, I like to win. I like to have good players and try to win. But more so for me, coaching is more so, they probably won't become pros, most of them. They won't. But what lessons can we teach them through life and through sport that they can carry on with them 15, 20 years? I still remember things that my coaches told me at 14, 15. They were very impactful. Can I do that for these young men? And that's what I tried to do. So I coached Bellevue High School. Then I went to work with my friend James Riley. We coached Bellevue Rush as a local club. And we're now coaching I coach a team called Eastside Bellevue, which everyone knows Eastside FC is a big club, but we're the Bellevue spin-off of that. So and it's under 19s and it's good, man. I enjoy it a lot. Yeah.
Because that's when I think I met you for someone who at first at Bellevue, and then it became Eastside Bellevue. Yeah. And you did, we do have somebody mutual with, he's my cousin, Lyle.
Yes. Yes. Crazy.
I remember him.
I remember him. Good striker. Yeah. So he was at the club, same club as me. He was the year below. Yeah. He was coached by my good friend Philip Lund. Good striker. I know his dad. Yeah. Congolese. Yeah. We bought 3 Congolese kids to the club because we were trying to find them. Yeah. So Sharik, Lundi, and Lyle. I remember Lyle well. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think even still now he still plays in Europe. He's 8 that plays with the
7. Yeah.
And Yeah, he talks a lot about you when we spoke. Yeah. Even what's it called? Because he's one of the few people to hold, like, there's only few people who I tell who the guests I'm gonna have. I told him, hey, I'm gonna have Chris. He's like, really? He's going to the phone. He's like, really?
He's a good kid.
Ask him what he thinks about me.
Yeah, no, I loved him. Yeah, I loved him. So always, you want all the kids to do well. When I would go and watch their games, I was always cheering a bit extra for the Congolese kids, right? Because I can relate to them. Like, I've come from the same journey as them. I know some of the obstacles they probably face. So every time he would score and this and that, and I see his dad at training sometimes and stuff. It was cool, man. Yeah. That's a great memory. I like Leo. Yeah.
To coaching, what do you think is the hardest challenges you've encountered yet?
How
do you go through that?
Yeah, I think for me, coaching is, especially when I coach youth, is trying to find the balance between results and development, right? You want to win. I'm a competitor. I'm proud. But understanding the result isn't the most important part for them. There's way more I can do here. And my role as a coach is important, but it's my example. For example, if we lose 5-0, how do I react? How do I react? Am I consistent? Am I someone that are the kids kind of walking on eggshells that, we don't know how, I don't want to be that way. I want to be someone that is approachable. Yeah. It's very firm. Here's the standards, but it's the same. We win 5-0, we lose 5-0. Coach is consistent. I've had coaches where you never know how they're going to show up, and it can really unsettle the teams. I think one is giving them consistency, giving them belief in themselves, that what you've done, you can do more. What you've done, the best coach that I had was always they found a way to drag more out of me. I'm like, coach, even in the gym, I've got no more reps. You can do 3 more. And then you did it. And you're like, oh wow, there was more in me. So when a coach shows you have more inside you, I think it does wonders for young people as well. So that's for me, these are the challenges, finding ways to more, and I have 22 kids. Each one is different. Yeah. One kid might respond well to some harsh criticism. Another kid, put your arm around him. Yeah. Another kid is a text message saying, hey, you played great today. Another kid, even if you play good or bad, doesn't want to hear from you. I just want to come do my job. So there's one kid I had in high school, unbelievable player, but you should not talk to him about, don't give him too much information. Don't talk to him. Before the game, I said, look, today I want you to do this, do that, all this stuff. And by the time I'm first, he's so confused. I said, you know what? Forget what I said, just go and play. And then he scored a hat trick. So it's like, he doesn't want tactics, doesn't care. Yeah. He wants to just play. And other kids, you have to tell them specifically, today, be here, be there. When the ball, so learning how to coach every player as an individual is a skill that every coach needs to master as well.
What do you do when the player comes up to you, coach, I want to be a coach? What's the type of advice? How do you go about it?
Yeah, I said, one, are you sure? Because coaching is much harder than playing. Yeah. Because when you play, you think about yourself. When you're a coach, the hardest part is cutting players, is choosing an 11. Because we have a very competitive team. When I give the lineup and you see the faces,
since you make a bound with those,
it's so tough. It's like, you're not going to play today, and then this and that. That's really hard. So I say, are you sure? You have to love it. Coaching, you must love it. You have to love. You have to be passionate about it. You have to really want to help players. And again, at the pro level, it's a bit different. It's very results driven. At the youth level, especially, you have to really care about them as people before they're players. Understand, as teenagers, they're going through a lot. They're going through, school,
just life changes,
family pressures, coming to end of senior year now, he's going to college and this and that. There's so much going on in their lives, girlfriends, this and that. So you have to understand that there's a lot going on there. Soccer should be an escape in a lot of ways. But once we're here, how can you use this 2 hours you have them that night to shape them for the rest of their life? So I think I told them, if you feel passionate, you feel you can do that, you can sacrifice, and you're going to give everything to them, and they might not say thank you, and you're willing to live with that, become a coach. Because it's a very selfless and thankless job sometimes.
Wow. And what's your best advice when a player is, let's say, because I think even because I'm fresh in right now, I can say there's times where things get really hard consistently. Yeah. Where the thought of maybe hanging up the boots this time, I don't think I can do. How do you go about it as a coach, knowing that you also were a player that went through countless challenges, more challenges than fingers and toes and all that you can count and all that. So how do you go about a player that comes up, coach, I don't know if this is for me. How do I go?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that's one of the things that I think helps me as a coach. Every stage of their career they're going to be at, I've been there. I was a youth player. I was a college player. I was a pro player. Yeah. I've been a star. I've been a sub. I've been on good teams, been on bad teams. Nothing you're going to see, I've not seen. One, I told them, everybody at some point who's done anything in life has felt like quitting. 100%. If you haven't felt like it, then you're not passionate enough about it. Because when it's not going your way and things are tough, you're going for a tough season, you're going to feel like quitting. The number one thing is to remember why you started in the first place. always go back to that. What's your why? What's your reason? Why are you doing this? Why are you here? Why are you coming out in the cold at 7 p.m. on a Friday night? I told the kids all the time, why go to the homecoming dance, go to the homecoming football game, go to the parties. You guys are choosing to be here. There must be something here that you still find valuable. Stick to that, right? And two is everything goes through ups and downs. Everything. My college coach told me all the time, keep your highs low, keep your lows high. When you have a really bad defeat, you're not as bad as that. When you have a really big win, a really good game, you're not as good as that either. You're somewhere usually in the middle, and you've got to stay even keeled. And developing a mentality like that in sports is the number one key, man. You have to stay steady because there's so much ups and downs, results. If you go like this, you're going to be up and down. So can you stay steady through all of it? And if you have the feeling that, I feel like quitting, et cetera, know that you're not unique. Everybody's been there. Yeah. I felt it many times. Even as a pro, I'm like, we've lost 3 games in a row. I can't score anymore. I'm done. Like that. Then next week, the ball hits my knee, goes in the net. Oh, I'm the best player in the world again. I'm going to play. Right? So it's like, you just got to stay with it, knowing the tide will always turn. Good, the sun will always come up again, always. And that's been my experience. And the ones who make it through life are the ones who are able to weather the good and the bad and just stay steady throughout all of it. Yeah.
What do you think, after taking on all the packages you have, from Congo to England to America to playing in MLS after only 2 years of college to going ahead and going through the ups and downs from being a rookie to going to Portland to going to coaching with also broadcasting, which I want to ask, what's your experience like with the broadcasting?
All of it. All you just mentioned, I love all of it. And broadcasting is cool because it's like you just talk about football. I'm just talking about football. The challenge in the beginning was that a lot of the guys still playing were my friends and teammates. So if they were not playing good, how do you criticize them? It's a bit tough. But now that I'm a bit more removed, I just talk freely. They do good. It was great. They did bad. Here's why I think that. So broadcasting's fun. It's just talking about the sport. I can talk about football all day. So that's all I'm doing now with a camera and trying to educate the viewers on why they're seeing what they're seeing. The last 10 minutes, the sounders have been really on top. Why? They made a switch. The coach asked this guy to do this and that. That's why that's happening. So being able to convey information to explain why they're seeing what they're seeing is what broadcasting is. But I think from that to coaching, I'll always, until I'm 99 years old, will be involved in football in some way, whether I'm coaching, mentoring, broadcasting, something. I'm never going to lose completely, be detached from football because I've done it my whole life. It's what I know. And I feel like I've got a lot to still say and give back. And I'm going to keep doing it. If people want to listen, I'm going to keep trying to give it.
Yeah. I want to know. So after all of that, what's the best lessons you've learned? What's the best thing you've taken away from the game? Because it seems as if your DNA has been written for football since day one. What is the best thing you've taken away from all the experiences to even that you still take away now that you can help educate people with?
Yeah, I think for me, like I said, I think I've touched on a few of them. I think sports is one of the best vehicles for life in general. Like I said, I learned all about life through the ball at my feet, traveling the world, different cultures, being able to accept people are different, things like that. How do you get into a locker room with 28 people, all from different backgrounds, some from that continent, some from here, with one goal in mind, like learning to work as part of a team and things like that is invaluable life lessons because we have to do it outside of the pitch. In any career you go to, you've got to do those kinds of things. So sports teaches you that. And I think number one for me in a personal sense, in an individual sense is you always have more than you think you do. Always. And I've learned that. Like you always can push more. And the best athletes I've seen, the best teams I've seen are the ones who are able to tap into that consistently, where they've got to the end, then they give 5% more. They've got to the absolute end and they give 10% more. And I think in life, that's the way you should be. Whether you're as a friend, as a brother, as whatever you are, you can always give more than you think you're giving. And I think that's how you show up every day and you give your best. And I think the best lesson to sum it up would be to say, how you do anything is how you do everything. So people that show up late to training all the time every week and this and that, I ask the kids, like, it's going to show up on Sunday. When we play the game on the weekend, it's going to show up. If I'm telling you show up here at 7:00 and you can't follow that instruction, how can I tell you, this is your assignment on the set piece. On defensive corners, I need you to stand here. I don't know if you're going to listen to me. So you might not play. So everything you do affects everything else you do. And I think that's a good lesson to have in life, where just do everything to a high level.
I understand. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. But I want to, if you've been watching, what we do at the end of every episode since day one, is ask the guest, assuming Steve Zakuani was watching 5 years from now and got a message from you for yourself. And by looking at that camera right there, what would you like to tell yourself 5 years from now if you were watching? watching?
To myself, 5 years from now, I say, look, I hope you stay true to yourself, but keep going. Whatever you're doing, keep going, and whatever you're going through, keep going. And I think that's the advice I gave myself 5 years ago, today, and in 5 years' time, because I think all of us, life is tough. It's not easy. We're gonna go through problems, but whatever you're going through, just keep going. It does get better.
That's beautiful, God. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Pleasure,
sincerely.
man.
Before we ask, I have a very fun question to ask.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite defender you've ever faced? It could be the toughest, or it could be the one you've cooked the most, the one you've dropped. You can expose it right now.
No, I think the favorite defender I've faced, I think it would be Dani Alves, with all due respect, because he's my favorite right back to watch. Yeah. Him and Cafu, and I think he's I think he won 45 trophies in his career, one of the best ever. So having a chance to play against him and test my skills against someone like that, I think was a great privilege for me. So facing a player like that, how can I not say playing against that Barcelona team in front of real fans in a real game was exceptional for me. So having a chance to compete as a left winger who thought he was quite good to go against the very best right back in the world at that time was a real privilege and honor, honestly.
Well, we get that now. Yeah. And I have to first by saying thank you, a big thank you for being here. Like I always tell a lot of people, you're just setting stone, just adding more stone on this monumental a dream I have. And sincerely, I was super hyped when I managed to convince you and all.
Yes.
And honestly, if you would have said no at that point, I do three things. I call it I ask, I'm gonna insist, I'm gonna convince, and I'm going to convince again and again and again. So even if you say no, I was going to call your number.
No, easy. It was an easy decision. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad. And I think, I hope that people watching kind of just
hopefully,
took away from what you gave them, just through your story, that their future could be shaped. Yeah. Sincerely, that's really just why.
Good, man. You're doing good work. Keep going as well. You're doing good work, man. I've been watching the channel a little bit. You're doing good, man. Yeah. So
this means a lot to me.
And I appreciate you having me, man.
Sincerely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm going to thank everyone, of course, for watching. We had a great guest on the podcast, and I have to say, I don't like saying this, but the guests are only getting better and better, and it's like I got to choose a favorite or something. And now I don't even know who to pick. I really enjoy recording this episode.
Pleasure.
I'm going to come watch a lot of the East Side games too.
At any time.
Yeah, we're going to have to also get Philip, get James here.
I'll get them. You tell me who you want. They'll be here.
First grade.
They'll be here.
No, that's a partnership right there.
Yeah, they'll be here. I'll get them in. Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming.
Pleasure, man.
I'm glad for everybody watching. And we'll see you guys next week. And that's it.